So we practically built these characters from the ground up, you know, so you can have characters to connect with and fall in love with and, you know, create these relationships from audience to screen.
I think it depends on what you mean, because a big part of the support for us came from the old Power Ranger actors who got in touch with a lot of us and gave us their support in passing this legacy on. But I agree with RJ. What we did was deepen the characters further, the background of these characters that people love all around the world. And I hope it comes through. Did you talk with the all
Yeah, absolutely. Amy Jo Johnson, who is amazing, hasn't aged, by the way, at all. So beautiful. She, you know, tweeted me when I got cast, and I think that's really lovely because, you know, the fans are so dedicated, and I think for them to really kind of encourage us and support us is really lovely and amazing. And they've just said to us, just have fun. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I hang out with David Yost, you know, sometimes we have lunch, and he was the original Blue Ranger, and he's really cool because he always just talks about life, you know, and just motivating me to not let people, you know, get in my ear about certain stuff. You guys are the new age, so no one will respect you and type stuff, you know, all the stuff that we hear, and he knows because he watches, you know, and it's some stuff that I would try to, you know, address to him, like, hey, David, this happened. Oh, I already know. You know, just, you can't pay attention to the negative, it's always the positive. So it's like the old Ranger crew is still, you know, they always got our backs and, you know, just pushing us forward, you know.
Oh, there is one thing I gotta say though. Personally, I drew a lot of inspiration from the fans that dressed up as Power Rangers, like emailing us the things that they make for themselves and how passionate they are. And a lot of them belong in Mexico, Latin America, Brazil, all those places. It was amazing. Yeah. What are you wearing today? Are you wearing something Power Ranger?
Red.
Hey, rojo.
Oh! Me encanta. Yeah. Me encanta. Gracias.
Siguiente, Alvarazo.
Chicos, bienvenidos. ¿Sí me escuchan? Sí. Mi pregunta es acerca de los trajes. ¿Qué tanto estuvieron ustedes en los trajes? Si se puede hacer artes marciales o pueden luchar fácil con los trajes. ¿Y hasta cuántas películas desean hacer ahora ustedes como los nuevos Power Rangers? ¿Cuánta información tienen?
Other questions there.
Many questions.
Pues, primeramente sí, entrenamos muchísimo y no era fácil, era muy difícil. Empezamos how long was it? 2 months? 2 months before filming, yo y RJ entrenamos en Los Ángeles. Ludi was in China, Naomi was in the UK, you were in Australia. Yeah, it was crazy. Y cuando llegamos a donde estamos grabando la película, entrenamos todos juntos. Y en ese momento era cuando, okay, now it's really happening. The dream's coming true. It's crazy. And then the suits. I mean, guys,
The suits were really, really cool, but really, really tight. You can't take deep breaths all the time in these suits. You might either rip something or break a bone, but they were very, very cool to be in. I feel like Weta did a very good job in designing the suits to where it matched Dean, who was our director, his vision, and then also tried to make it as comfortable as possible for us.
I mean, it was very tough to go to the toilet, el baño.
Para las mujeres era muy difícil.
Yeah, very hard, very hard.
No,
Especially for...
I didn't have a problem.
For the girls.
Mujeres?
Yeah.
Mujeres, sí. It was, not good. The boys, easy.
Oh,
easy.
no.
They gave us a zipper, but that didn't help the girls, unfortunately.
Just to answer the portion of your question as to further films or sequels, I think I can speak for all of us when I say that you've heard how much fun we had shooting the project, how close we are, how close we were to the director and the content, the suits, regardless if they retired. I think we're all very, very enthusiastic and we would love to be part of a sequel. Now, where that goes or when that happens is yet to be determined, but the positivity and the optimism and the love of this project is definitely there, and I know that for us, we'd love to put one together again for you and the rest of the planet. Thank you.
And to answer the most important portion of your question, can we straddle in the suits? Was that a part? I tried to straddle in the suits. I think I was successful one time.
Ludi, martial arts, he's good. Look at this, look at this!
Straddling.
Woo! Oh my gosh!
Ow!
Ah, no.
No me gusta.
I mean, guys, Ludi everyone.
Next one, 15 a 20. There.
Hello.
Hi, good morning and welcome to Mexico. So I have two questions. First is, how do you relate to your characters? And second, what do you think teenagers can learn from your abilities and the things you do as a team?
We should go down.
Yeah, let's go down
Oh,
and
Lude's
relate to
first.
the character.
Well, Zach, he's kind of an outsider. I think a lot of teenagers feel that way from time to time. I think every teenager, actually, not just every teenager, every single person, in a way, feels like that from time to time. And I made Zach this character from my past experience as well, because I moved into a lot of places since childhood, and each time I have to make new friends or learn a new language or adapt to a new culture, I feel like I'm on the outside. And then when you're on the outside, you look at some people, you don't understand why they're teasing you or bullying you. You feel like they're very perfect. But in the end, like Zach, he seems like a very cool guy, but now that you guys have seen the movie, truthfully, he's dealing with some very serious problems himself. So for myself, I made Zach not to show the cool guys to know that, oh, you're very cool, I'm very cool, so we can relate. I wanted Zach to be a certain way because I wanted to relate to the little kids that are being bullied, to show them that although this guy who seems very, very cool on the outside, who likes a lot of stimulating things, who likes fun, who is afraid of nothing, but in the end, he's seriously afraid and insecure of something. So nobody's perfect. Just be yourself, and once you can confront that, you can truly feel good and make some new friends.
I think for me, the theme of, doing something that you regret, we've all been there. And for Kimberly, she obviously at the beginning of the movie, she does something she regrets. And I think that in school, especially for girls, right? Girls can be mean to girls, and or I'm sure we've all had something mean said about us. And I think that that's really important to talk about. And I guess social media and cyberbullying and all of these things that are going on in 2017 for kids nowadays. And I think that it's about how Kimberly learns from her mistake and how she kind of goes from there. And I think that's kind of what it teaches. And it also teaches, I think, young kids as well and girls in school that, that girl that's being mean to you, they're probably insecure themselves. And I think hopefully it will just show that, that's not who Kimberly is. She is not a mean person. She's just as insecure as the next person. And I think that hopefully, girls will learn that supporting each other is way better than tearing each other down. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for all of us, that's such a great question, because in this film, we're all so imperfect, but I think that's a reflection of real life, and that's what makes the film true and organic in a sense about the coming of age process, I guess. Jason is fundamentally flawed, and he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. He doesn't know where he's going. And I remember being that age, being, sort of 17, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to get through high school. I had dreams and aspirations, and he struggles with the relationship with his father, which I think is tough. A lot of people struggle with the relationships with their parents, so that's also... And then he's thrown in a situation where he needs to be leading a team of individuals that he doesn't know, and that's why I always talk about this publicly as an ensemble piece, because it isn't just about Jason, it's about how the five of us come together and help each other, but it's also how he can overcome being that reluctant leader of the group. So without going into too much detail, I think it's just interesting for all of us, because it's an expose on what it is becoming of age, that we're all about to go through, or we've all been through. And that's, it's quite, it's touching to me at least, to see that.
For Trini, I think something really interesting about her is when you first meet her, you kind of feel like she hates everybody and she wants nothing to do with anyone. And I guess you can say, yeah, prefiero estar sola. Pero es que ella todavía está descubriendo cosas de ella misma y conociendo a ella misma. And when you don't know who you are, it's hard to connect with people, and it's hard to look at someone and be like, yeah, this is who I am. Wait, this isn't who I am. And so she kind of is in a constant struggle of finding who she is and her identity. And I feel like as far as feeling alone, that's something that I related to Trini on a lot of levels. Yo empecé en mi carrera a los 9 años y yo nunca he parado de trabajar. Y todos piensan, estás en un cuarto llena de tanta gente, ¿cómo es que puedes sentir sola? Y sí, porque la gente está mirando el show, están escuchando la música, están mirando la película, pero ellos no saben quién eres. They don't know who you are. They don't know how you're doing. And so that feeling of being alone felt very familiar, and that's how I kind of connected to Trini's character.
I connected to Billy mostly because we're both the same person. No, I'm playing. No, I connected with Billy mostly because his wholeheartedness that comes through, and he's a very serious character, as you guys should know. But it's just like that goofiness and that wholeheartedness and that slight wittiness that comes with Billy came from deep places of RJ, you know, and then some of the back thoughts that makes Billy's story happened to me personally. So, you know, I'm really connected to this character to the point where it's like I'm a lion and you know, Billy's my cub, so don't touch my cub and type thing, you know. But it's really cool, and plus I feel like this movie really, it shows somebody, you know, for everybody, really, you know. And you can connect to somebody in this movie, whether it's a ranger or it's a, you know, a day player that was on the movie, or if it's one of our amazing, you know, like co-stars. It's somebody always that can relate to somebody in this movie, and that really feels good because it's like so much imperfection in just life in general, right? And this is the first superhero movie that I feel like shows that imperfection, you know? Not just the cliche imperfection. Oh, they don't have anyone. They're a lone ranger. They're so strong. Like, no, they're not strong. Calm down, okay? They need other people, you know? And that's something that I feel like is really cool about the Power Rangers, is that it shows that you need friends to do greatness. You know, we do, as human beings, single human beings, we're amazing, right? But together, we're untouchable, you know? We're unbreakable. And that's what I feel like this movie shows a lot. Gracias.
Dos preguntas más. Cinemanet.
Thank you. Hello guys, I just wanted to ask, why a PG-13 rated movie when the average moviegoer is going to think about Power Rangers as a family-oriented movie?
Could you please repeat the question, man?
Why is it a PG-13 movie and it being a family movie?
Yeah.
And not kind of just general? I mean, to answer the question, I think our generation is very smart, and I think kids are very educated on what's going on and just very aware, more so than then. O sea, yo también tengo una familia muy grande y yo creo que yo puedo llevar a mis primos chiquititos, a mis hermanos, a mis papás, hasta a mis abuelitos. Yo creo que sí es una película para todos, aunque dice PG-13. PG-13, I think, it's just a rating just because we have to put ratings, but I do think it's an everyone movie.
Well, can I actually add something? Because I think I'm really happy that it's PG-13, because that means your parent has to take you to go see the movie. They have to be there, because I met a grandma in an interview, and her kids grew up on the Power Rangers. They're like in their 30s, right? So her kids love the Power Rangers. They love that the movie's coming back. And then now that all of the Power Rangers, like 831 episodes, is on TV through the TV series, her grandkids have fallen in love with the Power Rangers, seeing it on, you know, Netflix or whatever TV channel it is. So she bought all the DVDs to her house so she can get the grandkids to come over and play. It's not like candy anymore, right? It's something that's better for you, just sitting there and watching the Power Rangers, watching superheroes fight evil together. So with a rating like that, I can see like the grandmother bringing the parent and then the kids, like 3 generations of fans going to see the Power Rangers, and I can't imagine anything that's better than that.
I would just answer from like an actor's standpoint that's old. I'm really old, y'all. Y'all might not think so, but I'm old. But I think it's just one of those things where it could be a G-rated movie, right? It has the content to be a G-rated movie. But usually when adults and us, like grown people, we see G-rated, we're not gonna go see it because we're like, oh, that's for kids, you know. So I think it was a smart like move on you know, the head honcho's parts to make it a PG-13 movie, because then it's like, all right, it has the possibility to be for me and also for my kids.
But there are some very serious issues in the movie, but I think no matter what age you are, you're going to take away something. It depends on how much you take away. Everybody's different.
Gracias. Última pregunta, Ventaneando.
I got 2 questions. If you had the chance to reshoot one scene, which one would it be and why? And the other one, it's for Becky. Do you think that, crees abiertamente, te lo pregunto, que esta Trini es gay?
La cosa es que ella también lo sabe, y yo creo que eso es algo muy real. I think when you're discovering who you are, there's a lot of different things that you go through, and Trini's always been on her own. She hasn't been able to have any relationships with anybody, let alone been able to call a place home, or comfortable enough to talk to her parents. So she's dealing with these issues by herself, so she hasn't even had time to figure these things out. So I would say she's confused. Maybe.
Absolutely. Right, reshooting one scene. Oh, that's a difficult question. I mean, I'm gonna go with the scene where we jump across the chasm. That was amazing, because we were in harnesses and we had wires behind us, but we couldn't see the wires. So when we're running, like for the first time, it feels like we're about to just fly and jump and just go for it, which was really scary. But the sun was shining, and that was the closest to flying. Because if I had a superpower, guys, I would fly. So that was the closest to flying that I've ever come, and it was amazing. I could do that over and over again.
I would say that's the one scene I would reshoot as well, not because of performance thing or like an issue or anything. I feel like just because it was so fun and so thrilling and scary, and it was like I actually feel like a superhero.
Yeah.
I think my favorite scene like that I would like to reshoot would probably be me getting blown up, right? It's only because I'm an adrenaline junkie, right? That's what me and Zach relate to each other. I love to be around things, you know, that scare me a little bit or test the human condition. And so that scene shooting, it definitely tested the human condition, because you got these big old sand cannons shooting in your face and then fireworks going off, and it's just like, all right, I'm indestructible, you know, but it's fun.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a response. Reshoot a scene. What scene? There was some really nice moments we had on set. Whoever asked the question, hey buddy. There was some really nice. We shot almost chronologically, right? So that the relationship that you see develop in the film, we were developing that repertoire over the 4.5 months that we shot. So by the time we get to the end of the film, and it's like the emotional scenes, and it's all crazy, you know, like people are dying and stuff's going on. That was really nice, because we'd like stand in a group and like grab each other's hands and like center ourselves and have a moment. And I don't know, it was kind of a whole journey, but yeah, it was good.
And for me, on 2 ends, definitely the cliff jump scene. That would be the fun one to reshoot. That should just be like a ride in an amusement park, actually, so we can just redo that over
It's
and over.
called Zip Line.
It's called RJ Zip Line.
Nah,
Registered, trademark.
Mine would be born.
And then the other scene I would like to reshoot, that didn't actually get put in the movie, I think. It was because it kind of screwed up, I think. on the last day of the shoot, I had the last scene. We're having a really long day. And then this is the last scene, one of the scenes in the Zords. We're hanging up in the Zord. I'm hanging about like 50 feet off the ground in this capsule, in the Zord capsule. And that was the last take, the last scene that we're gonna wrap this movie on. And just hanging up there, I knew that when the director says, our director Dean Israelite, when he says action and cut, that was gonna be the last time and then it was going to be over. We're going to wrap this movie up. And hanging from up there, I could see everybody that had participated on the crew, like about 200 people just looking at us, at me, shooting this one scene. And this scene is supposed to be the Zord going down and destroying finally, the final cut. I'm supposed to be celebrating. But looking at these people, I just knew that over 5 months of this shoot, every single person on this crew who had tons more experience than us had devoted 150% of their energy, of their time, of their spirit into this film. And at that time, when I was supposed to be celebrating, and Dean had said this before, he thought I was a man, but I just broke down crying. And I think at that moment it taught me what movie magic is, that so many people had devoted so much into this film. I just can't believe that doesn't convey across to the audience. And I think sometimes that's what movie magic is. So that, I would like to reshoot that scene because I screwed up.
Muchas gracias. Vamos a hacer una foto final. We will make a photo without you.
Gracias.
Over your left, please. Center, please. Center, please. Center. Center. Center, guys, please. Center. Center, please. Center, please. Center.